to a brand new year. Happy 2019 from all of us here at your favorite podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, commandos, militants, we are presenting to you the Yin and the Yang. And ladies and gentlemen, this show is powered by the More of the Same family of podcasts in association with Anti-USW Productions. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, I am your former two-time USW champ, lifelong martial artist, and an avid running enthusiast, Anthony Chu, a.k.a. Chuzilla, the ultimate thriller, all muscle, no filler, baby. And ladies and gentlemen, on today's episode 62, the audio quality is back, right? And the martial arts film industry lost a legendary director this past weekend. We go over UFC 232's highlights. One man makes a difference through boxing. How to survive the marketing gimmick in the beginning of the year known as the gym. Reclaiming you, Q&A, and a whole lot more. And ladies and gentlemen, to join me in this navigating journey of insanity here at the Yin and the Yang, allow me to introduce my broadcasting partner, my co-host, Mr. Co-host to you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is the broadcasting savage. Favorite Transformer was not Ravage. Shut him up by giving him a pulled pork sandwich. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the owner, king, guru, and the boss of the More of the Same network. Here is, ladies and gentlemen, Larry. I can't wait to shut down your happiness in 2019, Mormon.
I'm not here to shut anything down. In fact, I'm here. We are going full force. We are just moving forward here at the More of the Same family of podcasts. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2019. Anthony, Happy New Year to you.
Larry. All right. And, hey, how did you ring in the new year?
I got to say, in style. I went over to, I was actually in Times Square for New Year's.
I expect no less.
Yep. I have a palatial penthouse apartment right across.
For God's sake, are we going to start with this? They're not even like 5 seconds into the broadcast, the actual broadcast, you're going to start with this palatial shit?
I'm just saying, I was in Times Square. I wasn't down in Times Square.
Oh,
but,
for heaven's sake.
But I was still able to see Jenny McCarthy and all her, the fact that they just keep cranking back on her face to tighten it some more every year. But it was, we rang in the new year in style.
Well, better than what I could say for myself because on that day, Larry, I don't think you can understand or relate to this. I actually had to be in the grind for 17 hours.
You do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, I've noticed that. But you don't know what that's like. You don't have a 9 to 5 like the rest of us commoners do, or as you refer to us as simpletons.
I've been there. I've done that. Not in a very long time, but been there, done that.
Did you get your hands dirty?
Why would I?
Well, that basically means you're not a working man.
I'm just a common man.
No, you're not.
Working.
That song does not apply to you.
No?
I'm sorry. You are not just a common
I'm
man.
hurt.
You don't work hard with your hands.
I'm a little hurt.
Well, you don't. I mean, listen, you sit. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can you please take the commandos and the militants, take our fans into what you do in a course of a day? I want to hear this personally because as your childhood friend, I've seen what you've gone through in a day, or what you've gone through in a day. Trust me, at least, okay, please, just enlighten us, okay? Don't let me do it, let you do it.
I mean, what is there to truly talk about? I just, I wake up in the morning, I depending on the day of the week.
For that. That's a blessing right there.
I make sure that all the podcasts are ready to drop at a moment's notice. I make sure that the interns that I have living here, of course, they do pay rent, so I make sure.
Here.
I do have a small campus in the back of the house.
Wait a minute. They pay to live there?
Well, I mean, look, rent is, you gotta pay the bills sometimes. Rent is rent.
shouldn't that be a part of the work costs that they should not have to pay for? Shouldn't you have to pay for that since you're employing them?
Look, they want to be here. So if they want to be here, they're going to have to pay their way.
Oh, for good God. Oh,
but,
good God.
But then once we figure that out, once we make sure that the episodes are all edited, which then I come in with my my morning cup of Joe, and I sit there as I watch the interns put together the episodes. I do that for about 3 minutes. Then I head down to my...
Minutes?
Did somebody say 3 minutes? Then I head down to my deluxe studio of where I have a 150-foot projection television. And then for the next 5 hours, I watch TVs, movies, anything I feel the need for. Live feeds of concerts that are beamed directly into my house from all over the world. And then once I'm done with that, I go back up. I spend another 2 minutes with the interns just to make sure that the episodes are uploading. And then for the rest of the evening, I go down to the kitchen where Wolfgang Puck is constantly creating new dishes for me. Then I have dinner for a couple of hours.
He's doing his job.
Well, what was that supposed to mean?
Well, because nowadays the only way I can see you coming into the dinner table is when you're flapping your arms and or whether you're rolling across the.
Wow, are you calling me fat?
No. What I'm saying is
that's hurtful. 2019, we're not going to take that.
Wolfgang, whatever the fuck that guy's name is, he's doing his job really well.
Sure is.
Larry,
can we just get on? Look, no, I don't want to bore everyone with what happened, what I do on a daily basis. Okay, I got my accountant is coming over. We're going to be starting to go over the taxes from 2018 that I'm not going to be that I am going to be reporting.
Okay.
And
all right. Let's just get on with the show.
Thank you.
This is ridiculous.
Thank you.
I had no New Year's. I didn't even get to watch the Twilight Zone marathon. I'm a little mad at that. But, I had to be in the grind for 17 hours, and I'm kind of out of it right now. And as we're recording this, it's you good folks are going to listen to it on January the 3rd, which is today.
January the 4th.
Oh, January 4th? I'm sorry. You see, I'm just really out of it, Larry. But you wouldn't know what that's like anyway, because, listen, why would you have to work for a living, right? Because your entire assets, your family's net worth is somewhere around like about $70 million.
All right. Look. Today is Wrestle Kingdom 13, so
Oh, did you hear about what's going on over there?
I did, but I don't want to give anything away. Everyone tune in. Make sure.
No. It's not that. They had a very difficult time selling some tickets. Did you hear about that?
No, yeah, I did not.
It's not that they have low attendance, but apparently they were having some difficulty selling tickets.
Interesting.
Because last year with the whole Jericho bit, when he fought Omega, the whole thing about that was that a lot of people from around the world flew in for that.
A lot of Westerners.
Right, a lot of Westerners, or whatever they call, I guess they call them gaijin out there.
I think a round eye.
Well, that's what I call you, but that's a different story. So what it is that the point being here, okay, is that now you fell into that, okay? I was going to be nice about that, all right? So you set yourself up for that. So I'm not putting you over. No, the thing about it is
you never do.
Well, now you know how I feel when you don't put me over at all for anything.
I think let's continue moving forward.
But anyway,
what?
So the thing about it is that they had some difficulty getting tickets, for that show, but they eventually did their job. They actually marketed it. There were some rumors that went around. I know you don't read dirt sheets. I do every now and then, but they were saying that they handed some free tickets out. I don't know how true that was.
Hopefully not.
I hope not, because they deliver a very good quality product for professional wrestling fans.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you one thing: it ain't sports entertainment over there, brother.
Everything is all about sports entertainment.
No, absolutely not. Because, and I'll prove it to you right now. When was the last time you've heard the WWE broadcast their highlights and results on a mainstream news market.
They don't need to. They have their own network.
Well, that's because it's not taken seriously. Because you got people like the Dick guy, you got people like and by the way, I was told that through the grapevine that you would not mind taking a YouPornplex from the Dick guy.
Hey, it is. Listen, it gets hits on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
I'll do what I have to do.
Oh, I'm sure you would like to grab his.
Okay, all right. Look, let's just move on. Let's move on.
At least we're not talking about maple syrup and a golden retriever this time.
No, it wasn't maple syrup. No, it was.
Okay. I was only kidding. Stop. I was only kidding. Please, let's not go there. Okay. Jesus Christ. All right. Well, anyway, let's just get on with the show. The whole thing is that last night, not last night. This past weekend, I apologize.
Had a long week, didn't you?
I'm really out of it, Larry. I really am. Sometimes I feel like I want to adapt the what's that famous quote from Lethal Weapon? Oh yeah, I'm getting too old for this shit.
We all are.
Anyway,
we all are.
This past weekend was UFC 232. Now, I'm trying my best not to make this a highlighted, results-oriented podcast because that's not what it's about. I wanted to talk about some highlights. The highlight of my night was not, and I repeat, not the pay-per-view. So I'm in North Brunswick, New Jersey, right? And, well, you wouldn't go there, Larry, because it's just too much diversity. Point is that
What?
I go into the B-dubs, I walk in there, and I see this, it's completely packed. And it's full, sitting down, and all of a sudden I see this guy, gentleman here, is standing up, and, looks like he had a long day, and I said, hey, sir, pull up the chair, have a seat, take it easy. Something you would never do, Larry, because you sit away from people. Now,
just because my house is about 10 miles away from my nearest neighbor doesn't mean I don't like people.
Larry, you have a street named after yourself.
Well, I mean, look, this is... Oh, wait, no, I don't.
Yes,
Why would I...
do. Yes, you do. It's called Mormon Manor Way.
I certainly don't live there.
Oh, so you're... Oh, well, I hope the IRS is listening to this one. Anyway, so tell the gentleman, have a seat, take it easy. We're sitting down. At first, the man was a very respectful man, very nice man. And he just said, hey, listen, I just don't want to bother you too much and all that. And then all of a sudden, he mentioned something that set off an entire conversation for the rest of the evening. He just came back from WrestlePro.
Oh, okay.
Right? Indie show, WrestlePro. And he had a great time. And we were talking about wrestling. And I was telling him about how I went to Kowalski's original camp. Then I went to Mikey Whipwreck's in NYWC. We're going back and forth. This guy, all right, and I'm not going to give his full name, but Joe, if you're listening, this guy is, I think that we should just appoint him the mayor of professional wrestling. The guy knows so many people, right? He knows my friend Bob Rowe out in, who formerly worked for Impact. He's met so many people. He has a lot of connections in the pro wrestling world.
That's good.
He knows people, and the guy's an awesome dude, man. Really good. Listen, when a man orders mozzarella sticks and shares them with you, that's a man.
Look, if you want mozzarella sticks, you got to get your own.
You see? Well, you're not a man.
He's a man.
No.
Such a man. He's a real.
This is not endorsed.
Real man's man.
Are we done?
He's a man.
Okay,
oh, we're done.
Oh, by the way, speaking of, I like to, ladies and gentlemen, silently, because he doesn't talk, in Studio A, the returning, don't fuck this up, Jeremiah.
He's back from
Jeremiah-
hiatus.
Jeremiah, the first order of business, besides doing your job in the sound booth, is put your index finger not even one, a half a millimeter away from Mr. Mormon's mute button. Because if he pulls that atrocity again, press the damn button, and he's not going to be on for the rest of the show. And I will take this over. I will call this the Anthony Chu Show, and I will do a solo show myself.
Is that how you're going to start 2019?
Well, listen, don't start 2019 with bad singing.
Listen, if
you want to sing, all right, go start another podcast, and we'll have the Larry Mormon Hour, okay? And we'll do a karaoke-oriented podcast show.
The karaoke show.
No part of.
Well, if Jeremiah knows what's good for him, he won't hit that button. So
I think I just gave you a six-figure idea. If there are people stupid enough to listen to you sing for an entire hour, I would be surprised. I would not be surprised. Anyway, the point is, Joe, this guy's a man. Great dude. Had the honor and pleasure of sitting down, listening, talking to him. Man's very intelligent, very insightful about the wrestling business, loves his mixed martial arts. And we're sitting down, and for the majority of the show, I really didn't watch because we were just having a very good conversation. The only thing I can say that was the highlight of the pay-per-view, besides meeting Joe. And Joe is now a friend. He's now a fellow bro, all right? And Joe, one day, I got to get you on the show, man. It would be really cool to have you on. And no, don't give Larry any connections at all.
Don't be jealous.
I will do that to you. Larry, don't look like you're about to tear up.
Don't be jealous.
Anyway, so don't be hating. So the thing is watching the Amanda Nunes Cyborg.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, I didn't watch it, but I heard about it.
Larry, I literally thought, I knew it was going to be a slugfest, and I knew for a fact, I figured in my mind, oh man, this is going to go a distance. It's going to go at least 2 rounds, maybe 3, because they're just competitive warriors. And from the very initial start, they literally come to the center of the ring, and it looked like Tommy Hearns versus Marvin Hagler.
Oh, jeez.
They were just swinging back and forth. It looked like Mickey Ward versus Arturo Gotti. I mean, it was like, literally, brother, I've never seen 2 women dish it out and take it. And literally, I've also never seen Cyborg, okay, in her weight class, which Nunes had to go up 10 pounds to meet that 145 or 146 weight requirement.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Cyborg gets knocked out.
In less than a minute.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa. We were all freaked out because it just, like, holy shit. Like, I never thought that Cyborg would have dropped. And the thing about it is, Nunes, I was crying, and she was being announced. She got the belt, 2 belts now. She's now the first women's 2-division champion in UFC history. Now she's the 3rd 2-division champion, right next to Conor McGregor and Daniel Cormier, which I'll get to in a second. And then all of a sudden, Nunes is running around like a mad woman, right? Showing off her belt. She's going crazy. And Cyborg is standing there, very respectful. I don't even know if she actually shook Nunes' hand or if Nunes wanted to shake her hand. But, she just gracefully left the cage. And I guarantee you Cyborg will be back because that is one bad-ass fighter. All right? But for the day, Nunes has both titles. She's going to eventually have to vacate one because you can't keep going up and down in weight class, which seems to be the trend nowadays.
I can't even be healthy for you.
I don't even think, yeah, exactly. You can't gain and lose 10 pounds, you know what I mean? It's just not healthy, exactly. And then the main event comes along. Gustafsson fights John Jones for the vacated lightweight UFC title, right?
How was the crowd reaction for John Jones?
Okay, so the crowd reaction was there were people who were cheering, but there were also, you can hear, there were people booing too.
Mm-hmm.
A very mixed reaction. Gustafsson was mainly cheered. Some boos every now and then. I'm not really sure. But I will say this. From the very start, when you look at John Jones, okay, so before we even talk about the fight, there was an earlier report last week that apparently they had taken a urine sample, okay, and what had happened was, and we talked about this on the last episode with shitty quality, right, on my end, that they found something positive in him, right?
Yeah.
And it was just something that wasn't right, and they would not allow him to fight in Vegas because of that, because the state athletic commission would not authorize him a license.
Mm-hmm.
So they moved it to Inglewood, California. They authorized him a license over there, and he came out and he looked like he was in shape, man. Ripped, very, very defined, leaned out, and he looked like he was ready to go. Now, I'm not a fan of his. I have no respect for the guy because he's gotten so many chances, all right? But reality of it is this, all right? On the opposite side of the cage, you look at Gustafsson, he looked like he had a little belly fat. He didn't look like he was in condition. He was just he looked tired looking.
He's basically out of shape.
Yeah, just like he didn't look like he really prepped for the fight.
Out of shape for a fighter.
Right, exactly. When you talk in terms of fighting shape, he just didn't look like he was there or he was ready or whatnot. And there were certain points where, like I thought the first round was even, and then the second round, like you saw Gustafsson kind of like winning. But then in the middle of the second round, the table started to turn.
Mm-hmm.
Once John Jones started getting him onto the ground, that was pretty much the beginning of the end. Once the third round came along and he took him down, Gustafsson's on his back, and basically John Jones pounded the daylights out of him on the ground and won. The refs stopped the fight, came in, and what happened was John Jones is now the 3-time, UFC light heavyweight champ.
Now, is he a 3-time champ because he just kept getting stripped of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Practically, because nobody's ever beaten him. The only fight that he lost in his entire career, I think he has now a 14 or 15 fight win streak. The only fight was his first one when he first got into the UFC. He apparently did like one of those up kicks when you're on the ground and the guy's standing over you, and he did an illegal up kick and he got disqualified, and Matt Hamill won. So till this day, Matt Hamill is the only UFC fighter or alum that actually has a win in the world against John Jones.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Nobody else has beaten this guy. And so, Joe, I am completely high Rogan, right? Gets into the ring. I have no respect for that guy. I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan at all, right? So Rogan, basically gets in there, interviews him, and he says, "What's next for you?" So John Jones says, "Well, there's a guy out there walking around calling himself Champ." He goes, "Daddy's home, and I have the title. You want it? Come get it." Practically. So he's indirectly calling Daniel Cormier out. And you know Cormier is going to respond, right?
He has no choice.
Right, but now, earlier in the week, he let go of the UFC light heavyweight title, right? And he wants to fight a heavyweight now. So I think he's trying to aim for a fight at Brock.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll see. We'll see what's going on because he claims in 3 months Cormier is retiring. So I seriously doubt that he's going to fight Jones ever again.
Or at least not in the UFC.
No, not at all. I mean, I just don't see it. Maybe like 20 years from now, they can sign up for Bellator and fight over there. Right? Because like Shamrock and Hoist Gracie did it, didn't they?
I think they did, yeah. Battle of the Old Timers.
There you go. So for a minute there, Bellator was the old WCW. They got all the older talent over there, So that was the highlight. But Joe, a huge shout out to you, buddy. And I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year to you. And we definitely got to get back together in Buffalo Wild Wings for another good card, and we'll go hang out and eat mozzarella sticks.
Mozzarella.
Okay, now, Larry, I really, really am trying my best to not go into a sad note starting the new year, but the martial art film industry, or the Hong Kong film industry, has really, really lost a major legend this past weekend, and a gentleman by the name of Ringo Lam. Now, for those of you who really don't know who Ringo Lam is, okay, so allow me to just kind of set something up here, okay?
Okay.
This is this is a little personal, so I'm gonna mention this to you now, okay? I am, the way people always ask me, what are you? And obviously my sarcastic response is, I'm human, right? A lot of people then ask me, no, meaning what is your background, what is your descent? So here it is. I first and foremost always proud to say that I am American, okay? It just so happens I'm of Chinese descent, because that's where you can trace my family to, on both sides. But it also just so happens that my father and my uncles, aunts, cousins, a lot of my cousins on my father's side were born and raised in the Caribbean island of Trinidad and Tobago. So I would always say either I'm also Trinidadian descent or I have Trinidadian roots. Now, in America growing up as practically an Asian youth, because I really didn't understand or embrace my Caribbean background or side of me until I was in my teens, and I found that out for myself. That's
okay.
For another day. Long story short, when you're an American of Chinese descent growing up in the time period that I did, which is the 80s and 90s, you don't have role models. You really don't, okay? Let's exclude Bruce Lee. You don't have role models. And people who say this, who say to me, oh, yes, you do, let me ask you all a question. Okay, name me, male or female, all right, in the 1980s, and then in the 1980s, when I grew up, name me 5 male or female Chinese American musicians. You can't. Name me 5 male or female Chinese American athletes. You can't. Name me 5 male or female Asian actors or actresses. You can't, right? In any capacity, right? So we don't have a whole lot to go with. And you start embracing other people's cultures, and what they offer. So I grew up listening to all genres of music, all genres of film, everything, that I can get my hands on. But still deep down, I felt like I had no identity. All of a sudden, the 1990s comes along, and I watch Hong Kong-based films, and Ringo Lam, John Woo films really didn't come into America until the 90s. That's how behind we are from Asia. So it was very hard back then with technology to get to a film in those times. So in the 1990s, Ringo Lam comes up with a movie, and by the way, he was originally an actor, but he found that he was better as a director / producer. So he collaborated a lot with Chow Yun-fat.
Oh, okay.
One of my absolute favorite actors.
He's good.
Yeah, Chow Yun-fat is, to me, if you ask me what kind of charisma I would want to have, it would be his. And City on Fire, okay, was one of the very first movies I've ever seen directed by Ringo Lam, starring Chow Yun-fat. He also did a movie called Prison on Fire 2. He also did Twin Dragons with Jackie Chan, Full Contact, which is another Chow Yun-fat movie, right? Then he comes over to America and collaborates with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he does the movie Maximum Risk, right? Which is in 1996. He still has Van Damme still has some sort of mainstream marketability. And then he came back to America once again and he made with Van Damme Replicant. All right.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, which I've never seen, and he also did another straight to DVD movie called In Hell. All right, with Van Damme. And basically, what's interesting about Ringo Lam's movies is that he does not use Chinese music. He uses a lot of westernized rock music, blues, jazz music. It's just that he felt that that's what separated his films from everyone else.
Do you now? I understand how much you like this director producer. Do you feel like that was a little bit of a sellout point for him? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Just like, do you think he was just trying to appease a Western market?
I think yes and no. I think that he wanted to really distinguish himself from a lot of the other directors, like John Woo did made a lot of Cantonese pop music.
Okay.
A lot of Chinese pop music. Chinese music was found in all Hong Kong films. And I think that he was just trying to separate himself from the pack. But I also think that he realized that being as brilliant as he is, that there's also, because he's educated in Canada for film.
Oh, okay.
So I think that he brought some of that back with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he did it for two reasons. He gave it that's a very good question, by the way, as an ode / knowing that there is an American market for Asian film.
Okay.
Cinema, so I think that he did it for several reasons, which is really brilliant on his part because it really separated him. And he also actually did films that were not about mainstream Asia or Hong Kong. If you look at the movies like Prison on Fire, he gives a very bleak and grim look into the inner world of Hong Kong, which he talks about like the Hong Kong prison system. After watching these movies, Larry, if you watch Prison on Fire 1, you will never want to be arrested abroad. Especially in Asia, it is fucking scary.
Oh boy.
Right? They talk about like the mob,
oh really?
The Chinese triads. So he does a lot of films that were considered quote unquote off the cuff, and not a part of that mainstream path, which is really interesting about what he did and all that. But he's collaborated with some amazing actors and actresses. He really gave Chow Yun-fat a really, really good different role because at that point, I think Chow Yun-fat was really he was doing a Better Tomorrow, and he was only, I guess, typecasted into these gangster, type of like what they call heroic bloodshed films.
Okay.
And making Chow Yun-fat a prisoner, or a cop was very different from what he was used to. So people got to see a different side of him, and all that. So, then they made Chow Yun-fat another gang member in Full Contact. So he's done a lot. And this poor guy, Ringo Lam passed away at only, 62, 63, and they found him unresponsive in his house.
Oh, gosh.
So, going back now, what I'm going to do is really start looking at more of his films and really understanding where he was coming from because I've seen a lot of the main ones. I want to see some of his work when he was at his peak,
Okay.
So to our condolences here from the entire staff, Larry, myself, to Ringo Lam's family, his friends, his cohorts, as well as to his fans. And so thank you very much, Ringo. Really appreciate everything you've done and giving me and opening my eyes to, Hong Kong life and giving me something to believe in. So really, really appreciate that. Speaking of film, Larry, I actually, before we recorded, I was flipping through the channels and I was watching this one documentary on Fox Sports 1.
Okay.
And the documentary is called They Fight. Okay, and the documentary is basically, and I want to bring this to attention because I don't know when it was made, because DirecTV has a bit of a problem with giving out the year of when they made things, or when they show things. So this documentary called They Fight is by a gentleman named it's about a gentleman who's an ex-convict who resides in Washington, D.C., named Walter Manigan. And Walter Manigan, basically, after he got out of prison, actually created an after-school program for troubled youth or for the youth and he runs a boxing camp. And he runs this camp where he gives young men the opportunity to not only train in boxing but to compete as well.
Okay.
And it's a great film. It really shows you his background, where he's come from, and how he wants to change his life. And I think that part of the subtlety of this film is to show that not all people who go to prison come out wanting to do bad again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he really is revitalized by, you know, going. I mean, you know, he could have left and gone anywhere, but he chose to go back to Washington, D.C. The southeastern part of Washington, D.C. is a tough place. Scary place, too. I've been there. A very tough part of town. And, you know, a lot of these young men are surrounded by temptation. You young men and women are surrounded by temptation. You know, a lot of drugs, gangs, poverty. I mean, it's all there. And he's giving these young men a chance to change their lives and make proper decisions. Now, as I'm watching this film, there's a certain point where the film has this unusual Twilight Zone twist to it. Because in the film it shows that Walter Madigan, you know, as great of a job that he's doing for these young men, is he himself is fighting inner demons of substance abuse. You know, and he was basically abusing Percocets and drugs and things like that, you know? And it just shows you how much allure or temptation there is in these tough neighborhoods, you know, for people to just easily sway in the wrong direction. And while he's fighting in the end of the film, well, you know, while he's fighting the substance abuse, his best, you know, fighters who were competing, a lot of his coaches have stepped up and have kept the gym running while he's dealing with it. You know, so it shows to me there's a huge sense of community. There's a very positive outlook, very tough but positive outlook for these young men. And that, you know, in this world, you make choices. And good or bad, you know, you do live with the consequences. So, I mean, it's really a very – I encourage everybody to watch this film. And it's an hour long, and it's outstanding. Really, really good in every respect.
Okay.
You know? So, Larry, I think it's time for, speaking of making positive choices and decisions. Larry, damn, my segue game is good this week. Are you ready?
What are we ready for?
First one of the year.
Oh, better be a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Well, if the boss is calling for it, right? All right, here we go. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the very first episode of 2019's Reclaiming You. And yes, I want to bring you some really good news today, some positive vibes, and some encouragement for this new year. And Happy New Year to, first of all, to all the fans, all the listeners, whether you're listening to the first time, whether you're listening for the, 20-something time, right? What I want to do is I want to say Happy New Year to you all, and this is the time to start a brand new beginning for yourself. Because this is the first, or really the third day of 365 days, or 365 chances you get to make a positive impact for yourself, for your friends, for your family, for the people around you. Because the positive impact that you make this year, and I'm going to walk you through it every week, And bear in mind of something, the positive impact that you make is going to live on, and it's going to potentially help other people and inspire other people. Only you have control of how you adapt, how you react, and how you take action for everything you do, from the second that we get up in the morning to the time that we go to sleep at night. Question is, what do you do in between? Besides going through the normal, usual rhetoric of work, school, taking care of your family, how is it that you are taking care of yourself? The last episode of Reclaiming You of 2018, I had asked everybody to do some homework. And I had said that when you get an opportunity for the week, gave everybody some homework to sit down with a paper and a pen and write down 3 goals or more that you have for this year of 2019. And how do we build a program or a plan of how to execute it and meet your goals? So, leading by example, I've written down 3 of mine. So, my 3 goals this year are, goal number one is that I am currently weighing in at 208 pounds, and I would like to get down to 180 to 190 pounds of that range, but ideally back to 180 pounds. Secondly, I want to find somebody special in my life this year. It seems to me, for me personally, I feel like it's a goal. I'm of that age in my life, in my 40s, where I, want to be a family man. I want to be able to find that somebody in my life. And the third goal in my life is I would like to try to advance in my career and basically, really try to move up or try to have a change of pace or a change of environment for the better, where I can advance and do better for myself financially, things like that. And a fourth goal of mine is to basically run a half marathon. It's a goal that I've wanted since November of last year, and I want to do the half marathon, any half marathon, gain a trophy or medal or something like that, and just to say that I have the ability to do it. So there you go. Those are my 4 goals. Now you may be wondering, well, those are 4 completely different goals. How is it that you can fit one universal path or one way of completing all 4? Well, my friends, this is where time, patience, and progression happen. Time, patience, and progression. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, in order for you to achieve any goal, you must dedicate the time. You must be able to not procrastinate and basically say, well, I got to take time out to focus, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's 5 hours, whatever it may be. Focus some time at chipping away at how to reach that goal. If you want to lose weight, try 5 minutes worth of exercising. Build from there. All right? Try to do something. If you are trying to read a book, let's say you have a huge book, 800 pages, let's say, right? Take some time out. Read a little bit at a time. Don't go and go crazy and try to accomplish something that's relatively small and make something out of nothing, in that sense. Try that. The other thing is, I said patience, right? You can't allow yourself to have one little failure and say, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to never make this. Think about how many people go through their lives every day and say, I can't. Or I'm never going to meet this goal. Or here's my favorite one, right? I'll never get there, right? Or I can only wish to get there. Well, you know what? you have to be patient. Things will come. One healthy meal is not going to get you healthy. One bad meal is not going to get you unhealthy. It's what you do, right? And the last one is progression. You have to progress forward. You can't revert back, and this is what I'm going to concentrate on this year, is to help everybody try to attain their goals or give you some sort of motivation to progress, and how do you develop the time? How do you develop the patience? How do you develop the progression to meet those goals? That's one of the most important aspects. Those three things, most important aspects of obtaining what you want. And we're going to work on it together, So have no fear. Whatever your goal is, as long as it's a positive one that impacts you and the people around you, right? We will work on that. And we will try our best. I will try my best to get you there. Now, in truth, you have to be dedicated to this. You cannot, just work on it for a week or two or three and say, well, I'm done. And by the way, we will get into that topic. We're going to connect that into when we go back into our regularly scheduled program. So I want you to look at what you've written down. And if you haven't done this, by the way, if you're listening to this for the first time, take a piece of paper and a pen and jot down what is it that you want out of this year. Maximize it. This should be an amazing year for all. There should be no setbacks, no obstacles. And if there are, we'll get past that. Okay? So this is what I want you to do. If you want to share it, you want me to read it on the air, let me know. Just write to us at Yin and Yang Podcast at gmail.com. That's YINANDYANGPODCAST at gmail.com. And until then, come next week, we're going to start building some goals and blocks. We're going to start laying down that foundation for creating and going towards your goals. So, my friends, the best is yet to come. Have no fear. Always believe. Have faith in yourself. Don't just think it, ink it. All right.
Good one. When do you have time to record that one? That was a good one.
Well, you know what, brother? And you know what? That's a really good question, because that's exactly what I was going to say. Time, patience, and progression. I enjoy doing that. And I don't want to let the fans down. And I want to be able to lead by example and basically back up what I say,
Yep.
And in turn about doing that, do you have any goals this year? I mean, do you have anything that you plan on doing, or anything progressive that, anything happening?
I briefly talked about it last time. First of all, I'm really looking to get the network out of the crippling debt that
what?
I mean, just working towards expanding the network. Make sure you edit that part out, okay? Thank you. You marked it, right? Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah. No, what? Yeah, that too. Can you? Yeah, earmark that one. Thank you.
I'm sorry. What did I say? What crippling debt?
What? No. That's you got all three of them. Yeah. Yeah. One. Yeah. And then okay, good. 3, 2, 1. Well, in 2019, I'm really planning on lose. I have to lose weight. I've talked about it before. I have no choice. If I want to if I want to see 2020, I have to make myself better in 2019. So that's a no. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on that one.
Oh, good Lord. Well, I mean, You sure? I mean, like, is this really something that you want more than anything else?
It's not that I want. I have to.
Okay. What brought about this sudden,
Just
like,
just
revelation, I guess you could say?
health, family history, things of that nature. I just can't keep living the way I do as far as food consumption and lack of energy is concerned. I really mean it. If I want to see 2020, I got to get through 2019. And to get through 2019, I have to learn to eat better.
Okay.
And get myself into some... Look, I'm not saying I'm going to get ripped. No, not at all. But I need to... I just need to do something. And I'm not making any promises because I've broken promises in the past. So all I'm just going to say is it's just something I have to do.
Okay. All right. Well, you got an entire support system around you of people who do care and who want to help you out, man. So, I mean, look, brother, all I could say to you is that if you value your life and the people around you, it should be all the motivation in the world to just make changes or adjustments or whatever you want to call it.
You're right. I mean, I can just easily pay for the liposuction, but I want to try and do this, the hard way, the way that will make me proud.
You're actually going to work in your life? Or work at something in your life?
I think that's quite uncalled for.
Really? What? Let me ask you a question, Larry. What on earth have you ever worked for in your life?
I think what we're trying to say is that it's time for the Q&A, and we want to really get to the people for you to answer their questions and give them advice.
Well, knowing you for so long, there is one particular situation where I did remember you working hard.
What was that?
You remember that Greek?
All right. Well, I think it's time to move on.
Can I finish?
I'd rather you not.
Well, I'm going to anyway. What I was going to say is that many years back, I remember there was this one time that there was this one Greek, what's the best way to describe this? Sandwich that you wanted, after a wrestling show.
Okay.
Come out of the locker room and you wanted a quote unquote gyro.
A gyro.
Gyro. Okay, yeah. And basically, trust me, my man, you worked hard for that euro, man, because that euro. And man, there was so many people online for that damn sandwich.
Okay.
I've never seen you basically shoulder block enough people to get to the front of the line to order the fucking thing.
All right. I think, some things are worth fighting for, but, that gyro was a long time ago.
That was a good sandwich, too.
How would you know?
I had one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you know how I know I had one? Because I bought you one. That's why. At that time, Jesus Christ, about 20-something years ago, about 21 years ago, you still had a net worth that was somewhere around about 15 million.
Okay, all right. Look, it's time. All right, look, it's time to reach in. The sack has gotten very small lately. It's starting to become more of a purse than anything else.
What? My sack is never small.
I'm just saying,
what I want you to do is just close. No, don't close your mouth. Open your mouth. Go reach into that sack.
Lord.
My sack. Pull out whatever it is. Get it in your hand.
Santa would be disgusted.
Open it up. Well, Saint Prick didn't get me this year.
He should have.
All right. Look at it.
What?
And disseminate it to the people.
All right, watch your language. That's just uncalled for.
Do not exacerbate me.
I will do nothing of the sorts. You take care of that yourself.
Listen, if I can survive being procured in the cross-faced chicken wing, I can survive anything.
Best moment of 2018. and it was all my fault. All right, so Adriana.
Because you nearly tried to get me killed. That's why.
Adriana.
Let's not go there. Okay, go ahead.
Adriana Aid, 1990, writes, if Larry is a millionaire, then why is he not well known in nationally and in mainstream America?
Well, inquiring minds want to know about this one, Larry, because, I mean, Lord knows, once again, your entire net worth in the Mormon estate is somewhere around about 70.
All right, okay. Hey. For what is that? Adriana Aid, 1990. Can you go on to the feed? Thank you. Can you block Adriana Aid 1990 from downloading future episodes?
Stop.
Thank you.
Listen,
Thank you.
Don't do that to the fans. What the fuck?
I don't need to be. Listen. I don't need people prying into my business.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Answer the question. Why are you? If you're a millionaire, why are you not known?
Because I purposely fly under the radar. See, there's a spot for bottom feet. For people to fly under the radar, to still be able to get where they need to get and do what they need to do to allow the progression of their family of podcasts.
Fans, I am not telling you to ever write about any questions about Larry ever again. Don't direct anything to him, but do what you want. This is the kind of shit that you get. Larry, she asked you a simple question. If you're a millionaire, why are you not well known in mainstream America or better well known, whatever the hell, right?
Hey, look, it's not my choice. I certainly I go to, we
families in the jewelry business.
Look, we have meetings. We have millionaire meetings each and every third week of the month. I'm there every week.
Oh, God.
Me, Bill Gates, Tim Cook, the guy who owns the Dallas Mavericks.
He doesn't even know who that is.
So,
Mark Cuban, you nutbag.
I don't go to Cuba. They're usually somewhere in the Texas area. Oh. So, look, I'm at the meetings.
Wow.
I don't know what to say.
So you're telling me I could have put Mr. Bean in that fucking meeting. You wouldn't have even known what the difference
Hey, look, all I know is that when you get there, you have to show your most recent, checking account bankroll that allows you to get into the meetings. And, it's just some, I am, I don't mind talking. I don't mind doing all these, I love doing the podcasts. But there's only so much of my background, only so much of my history. I want you.
Question.
Thank you. Rib Obsessed 07. No, excuse me. Rib Obsessed 01720.
Wait. What? What the hell kind of name is that? Rib Obsessed?
Rib Obsessed 01720. I guess that's a zip code.
Ribs actually do sound kind of good right now.
See, I'm a fan of pulled pork.
I can see that.
What?
Go ahead.
Rude. What is?
Rude. I like ribs.
What is the best? Are you finished?
No.
Can I finish?
No.
Can I finish? What is the best barbecue you've ever had, and where and why?
What does this have to do with fucking health, fitness, motivation?
Your fans.
No. We have commandos and we have militants. Apparently, he is a militant. He's part of Mormon's militants because commandos take care of themselves. We don't eat shit like that. Right? Well, actually, we sort of do.
I've seen you down a whole rack of ribs easily. Like, just put the whole thing in your mouth and just all that comes out is bone.
When I was 270. Okay. To answer this man's question, the best barbecue I have ever had comes from... You ready? I'm not answering the question.
Oh, wow.
And here's the reason why. Because, again, it's like saying, well, in the world of professional wrestling, if you had to put four faces on a Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling, who would you choose? There's no way that it's such a... is the word subjective?
I'll allow it.
In meaning that, like, what? meaning that like it's a matter of opinion. I mean, like every section of or region or state in the United States makes a specific style of barbecue. I mean, look, it's like that's like saying, you can get ribs anywhere, but you got them from, Memphis has a dry rub, Kansas City has a slathered with sauce. People in Texas don't use sauce. I mean, if you want whole hog, North Carolina does it. So do people in Arkansas. So do people in Mississippi and Alabama, or I think some of them, right? You want brisket. The Texas boys know what they're doing, and girls out there, but then you got people who are, look, see, people are complaining already. So there's no way to answer that question. Now, if you want to talk about in New York, where have I had the best barbecue? Haven't found a place for any of them. Larry, you know what is one place we can share a commonality with?
Where?
Actually, no. You know what? Do you have an answer for this question?
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, 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 baby back. Chili's, baby back ribs, barbecue sauce.
Are you done? You're muted? Hello? Larry? 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 Wait a minute. Larry? Are you there? Hey, Jeremiah, what happened to his mic? He's he's muted? Beautiful. Excellent. All right. Well, now that the show can really go on and the show's finally started, my friends, allow me to say the idea that there's no way to answer this question. Okay, so it's just, I mean, it's a weird question to ask on a show that has nothing to do with the show, but damn it, I want barbecue now. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Oh yeah, I think we get a third question from this guy. Please unmute Mr. Mormon's mic. Just let him ask the question, and that's it. Mute him back again. Larry, are you on? Are you there? Can you hear me?
This guy always muting me and everything. All I was what? I'm back. Hello? Hello? Am I back on? Hello?
Yes, you're back on the air. We all hear you.
Why did he mute me? I don't get it.
I
Well, he better not do it again. That's all I gotta say.
You said something about baby back something?
I don't know, because not only was I muted, for some reason I couldn't even hear your end of the conversation.
Well, what's the third question?
Whatever. Edgar Oliveira writes, many episodes ago, you had, I know he muted me, but he also was silent. I couldn't hear him. Let's get through the show and I'll deal with him later.
Please read the question.
Many episodes ago, you had mentioned that professional wrestlers should not be underestimated in actual combat due to their physical attributes and endurance. Edgar continues to write, I don't see how that philosophy or any flush free, I don't know what the hell that means. I don't see how that philosophy or any flush free in professional wrestling can be applied in actual combat. Please explain. Well, I think I can explain it. See, in professional wrestling, what happens...
I'm sorry. Mute him again. Is he muted? Oh, beautiful. Jeremiah, on point today, man. I like that. So allow me to answer the question from a real champion. So basically, I say do not underestimate and I've said this many a times, do not underestimate the physical conditioning that professional wrestlers have to go through. A lot of them have adapted a lot of martial arts oriented training regimens. A lot of them come from martial arts backgrounds. If you look at somebody like Shinsuke Nakamura, he was actually a mixed martial art guy before he became a pro wrestler, right? A lot of people study a lot of different disciplines. I mean, even somebody like Samoa Joe is a submission specialist who does grappling for Team Punishment with, I think, Tito Ortiz's crew. I mean, you got a lot of people out there who have a background. I mean, look, as many people in MMA who have transitioned to pro wrestling, we have equally a lot of people from pro wrestling who transitioned to MMA and have become very successful. Look at Brock. Look at Bobby Lashley. Look at Batista. Look at, I can't say CM Punk, okay? But look at hopefully Jack Swagger or Jack Hager, right? Who's making his Bellator debut next month. Or this month, actually, I think. So we'll see what happens, right? So, I mean, it's very difficult to answer the question also, this one as well, because, you know, unless you've gone to a pro wrestling camp, unless you've taken bumps, unless you've gone through the regimen of a training program, people won't understand. They see what they see on television, and it's hard to explain. So there you go. Before that, folks, if you have any questions, once again, please email us, yin and yang podcast at gmail.com. Now, please unmute Mr. Mormon's mic. And if he sings again, mute him permanently for the entire show. Go ahead.
Always love you.
Mute him.
Oh, will. Wait, what? Wait, what?
Unbelievable. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take over the rest of the show. Allow me to say, before we go into anything else, okay, tour dates. The tour dates coming up. I don't know about Larry's. All I know is that I will be at WrestleMania. I will be at the ROH, hopefully at the ROH Supercard, okay? Hopefully I'll get a ticket to NXT. At the same time, I am going to do my best to be in June. I am going to be in Monroeville, Pennsylvania for the 41st anniversary of the movie Dawn of the Dead, where they'll do a mall tour and get to meet the stars and all that. So that's, so far what I've got. I think the next Legends of the Ring is coming up in June at some point, as well as Chiller Theater. That's also coming up. I'll be there for that as well, out in April. And I'm trying to make it to the New Jersey HorrorCon, but I'm not sure what's going on yet. Now, has he stopped? No, you know what? I'm going to be nice. It's the new year. Has he stopped singing? You sure, Jeremiah? Because if you unmute this mic and he's singing again, I'm going to mean it this time. So let's go. Unmute his mic, please. Larry, you there? Larry, are you there? Larry. Yes.
Hello?
Hello.
All right. You there?
Yes, I'm there. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Why? What is going on here? Are you having issues on that side?
Stop singing and you won't be muted.
What are you talking about?
Now, do you have any tour dates?
Well, yeah, my band Mormon and the Maniacs are going to be performing live in a Grand Junction near you in the near future. Just pay attention to our website. But I have upcoming. What do I got? Of course, the epic WrestleMania 35 tailgate party in the parking lot of MetLife Stadium during WrestleMania 35 or before WrestleMania. Of course, WrestleMania itself. I'll be at TakeOver. I'll be at the Ring of Honor New Japan G1 Special. G1 Supercard. Raw SmackDown thereafter. And I am hoping in August to head to the Great White North to go to Toronto, Ontario, Canada for SummerSlam.
Are we done?
I'm good.
We're done? Okay, good. Now, go ahead. Promote the rest of the shows that you do.
Tune in every Tuesday to the Retro Gamers podcast, where this week myself and Anthony Rippo talked with Captain Nostalgia from Victims and Villains, where we talk about Season 2 of Castlevania on Netflix and the fallout of the Virtual Boy contest. And, of course, every other Wednesday, the Better Half podcast, where, as usual, when we start the new year, the Better Half is live on Facebook. You'll be able to catch the replay Facebook Live at the Better Half Podcast Facebook page. Of course, the audio portion of the podcast will drop on Wednesday. Check wherever you listen to podcasts. And, of course, the Yin and The Yang podcast every Friday, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Fans, one last thing, and I know that I was supposed to talk about this earlier in the show. It's January 4th. My friends, whatever you do at all costs for the first 3 weeks, don't go to the gym. Okay? And if you do go to the gym or you've already went, I congratulate you for surviving, because once January 1st rolls around, everybody gets it in their minds. It's time to make changes. It's time to go to the gym. And they dedicate 2 to 3 weeks of their entire life. And all of a sudden now, they drop out. And by February, the gym goes right back to normal population. Allow me to say this. Now, I know it's going to sound contradictory, but you should get your goals started and this and that. Try your best to pretty much avoid the peak times of the gym. It's the single worst 2 to 3 weeks. People who take up the machines are not there to be serious. They're there to take selfies or do social media postings of them in the gym and how cool they look. All right? My personal belief is that it doesn't last, just like everything else in their lives, because people don't have discipline. So here's the whole thing. Try your best to, maybe you live in a hot environment, go out to the beach somewhere, go out to the park somewhere. Try to avoid the gym. And if you have to go to the gym, try to do this early in the morning where the rush is not there, that type of thing, or before, 5 o'clock when everybody gets out of work or whatever. If you can avoid it, you can help it. But the gym is the worst place to be for the first month. That's one thing I despise about January, badly. But that's just me, okay? Other than that, Larry, I think you've given us all a chronic headache that will last us until next week, between your singing, between your forgery, your fraudulent acts, your fraudulent words. I'd like to thank you for conning everybody, practically. There's no such thing as Mormon and the maniacs. The only maniac here is you, all right? Now, Larry, I don't know how I've put up with 62 episodes worth of this, but I think that the year's going to become really, it's going to get better than what it is now. So, for the most part, fans, you have anything to say before we go?
Tally-ho!
You're the best around.